Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode of I Trek. Huge shout out to all the I Trek fan, man, tapping in, man, yet again. It is hot out here on the west side of America. Huge shout out to Morocco, because I know you feel my pain and I've been seeing you tap in. And if this is your first time here, what we like to do is take a look at the most interesting and creepy videos from all around the internet and kind of evaluate for ourselves whether these are fact or fake. Per usual, I do have the link to this humidifier. You'll probably see it somewhere about right here. Smash that like button for me, and if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, man. Join the iTrack fam. Now let's go ahead and jump right into it.
Synthetic Human Genome Project is currently working to create a fully synthetic human chromosome as proof of concept. Scientists working on the project want to ultimately create all of human DNA from scratch. While the researchers insist there is no intention to make enhanced humans, there are some concerns that the technology could be used inappropriately.
Hey, that's not their intention now, but give it some time and some dollar signs, man. They'll be all over it like white on rice.
The Earth is an imaginary playground. It's a three-dimensional world. It's real, but yet it's fake, if you understand what I'm saying. It's a real world, but it's fake because everything on the outside is a projection of your consciousness and the way that you feel and think about yourself. And we pick up each other's frequency band, vibration. We could be here thinking about an airplane crashing, and if enough people began to think that thought, that airplane would begin to crash. Does it make the airplane real? No, but it does happen because it's an imaginary world. The world you live in is a fake world. You never left spirit, you're just dreaming that you have. All this is a dream. You're dreaming the dream of life. It's real, but yet it's fake. The real world is the spirit world, and you and I are the ghosts to the spirits. We are but the shadow on the wall of a cave.
Wherever you're at in life right now, you created that. And if you want to change it, only you can do it. And it's as simple as that.
Y'all see the crazy shit that's taking place in Lake Tahoe as we speak? First and foremost, let's start off with the fact that this is the end of June and we are in the beginning of summer. The DoorDash CEO and friends were on a boat partying for a friend's birthday party. Mind you, Lake Tahoe, maybe 80 degrees or something, maybe more. On that boat partying, that boat capsizes. 8 people that were on that boat lost their life. Mind you, these people were on the boat enjoying themselves, and out of nowhere, the weather just switched. Strong winds pushing boats from side to side. It was getting crazy. And if you want to see this at that search bar, you would definitely be able to see it. But shit was out of order. But this is where it gets even worse. Again, we are in June, the beginning of summer. I need you to go on the map and look at where Lake Tahoe is. After you go on that map and look at where Lake Tahoe is, I need you to understand that right now in Lake Tahoe, it is a snowstorm. There are people posting that it is snowing now in Lake Tahoe. They had so many different weather changes just in a short amount of time.
Yeah, so I went ahead and found a few clips. But mind you, this is the beginning of summer, ending of June, beginning of July. It should be pretty hot. So it shouldn't be any kind of snow or anything like that going on in Lake Havasu. So let's go ahead and take a look.
The Coast Guard reported 6 to 8 foot swells, 30 knot winds, and even snow when a freak storm rolled over Lake Tahoe. A time lapse over 2 hours shows just how quickly the storm became violent. The Coast Guard says a 27-foot Chris Craft boat capsized, leaving 6 dead, 2 hospitalized, and 2 missing. The Coast Guard suspended its search for the 2 missing passengers after covering over 390 square miles for 12 combined hours.
Have y'all ever seen a lake turn into an ocean in minutes? Because Lake Tahoe just did that, y'all. They had a storm that hit Lake Tahoe so hard that the locals there thought the fucking world was ending. That storm straight violated Lake Tahoe, y'all. I'm talking about it was flipping boats. The wind gust was out the roof. Like, it looked like a tsunami. I'm not even lying, y'all. And the wild part is they said they didn't have no warning, no alert, no siren. People was just chilling when this storm just did. Look at y'all.
Holy shit.
If you didn't know no better, you would have thought this was a lake, right? This shit look crazy. Look at the boats. You had people that been living there for 30 and 40 years that said they never seen anything like this. They seen storms before, but nothing like this at all, ever. How does a lake turn like this in the middle of the summer, y'all? This man that's recording is amused too. He like, what the fuck? Look at that person too. You know the world changing fast when storms like this can just come out of nowhere and hit hard like this and make people that's been living there all their life like, I never seen anything like that. I need y'all thoughts down below on what y'all think happened.
You're going to find that there are hybrid creatures that implicitly intermarry with human, because that byproduct is explained, but not the tradition of how it happened. The byproduct creatures get in a lot of trouble with the gods of Mesopotamia, and they're chained to the underworld, just like the Nephilim, just like the Titans. And so there's a common ancient Near Eastern tradition here, the idea that there's intermarriage between the heavenly beings and earthly beings, and the byproducts they're not always giants. They're often either giants or wise sages, and they might start off as good, but they usually end up being bad. And let me just show you some of this.
For those of you who think that this sign represents Rock Nation and not something else, then why would Beyonce be so quick to put her daughter's hands down the second she realizes what she's doing, especially at a time where the music industry has been so silent?
Man, I was listening all close, but as soon as he said Beyonce, it threw me off, like, big time.
The world's highest paid celebrity has been dead for nearly 2 decades, but they still made $600 million last year. Forbes released its list of the highest paid dead celebrities not that long ago, and it's super fascinating. At number 10 is John Lennon, who made $17 million last year. Number 9 is Friends star Matthew Perry with $18 million. 8 is Peanuts creator Charles Schultz with $30 million. 7 is Bob Marley, $34 million. 6 is Prince with $35 million. Number 5 is the Cars frontman Rick Ocasek with $45 million. And honestly, I'm pretty surprised to see him above Prince and Marley. Number 4 is Elvis with $50 million. Number 3 is Dr. Seuss with $75 million. And then the totals make a huge jump. Number 2 is Freddie Mercury with $250 million. But the number 1 highest paid dead celebrity is Michael Jackson, whose estate brought in $600 million last year. And I can only imagine how high that number is going to be when the Michael Jackson biopic comes out next year. And according to Forbes, Jackson tops the list of celebrity moneymakers in general, beating the number 1 of alive celebrities, Kylie Jenner, who made $590 million.
Now that brings a whole new meaning to the phrase being worth more dead than alive. That's crazy.
Has anyone else heard about this? Because I haven't. They're saying if we signed up for TSA PreCheck and or global entry, that we've basically waived a right. And it's in the fine print that I know we all did not read because I did not. Okay, listen to this, y'all.
Now, you posted on @RealKAHall that people who've signed up for the speedier passage through TSA have also waived a very important right. What have they signed away?
So when individuals enroll in TSA PreCheck or global entry, they actually sign a release granting the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI unrestricted, warrantless access to all their personal data. Health records, physical, mental, social media, communications, court history, anything they want, they have access indefinitely. And this sweeping surrender of privacy is in the fine print few people ever really read. So the people end up giving up their permanent rights, or their rights permanently, for the convenience of maybe a little bit faster time in line.
Now that makes sense to a degree, because I know pre-check just helps you avoid a lot of lines, a lot of hassle, quote unquote. But I mean, I've traveled enough to know that you're not saving that much time. I'm not going to lie to you. You know, if you're going from point A to point Z, it's not too much of a difference. So definitely do your homework before you start signing up for anything.
What if I told you there was a guy in Hollywood who fixed famous people's problems, a Hollywood fixer, if you will. And there were a lot of times that celebrities would call him like in the middle of the night to help them with a problem that would arise that they can't call the police for. And he would take care of those problems. He would get rid of any evidence, and then no one would be the wiser, right? Like big celebrity names like Chris Rock and other people would use this guy. And he also had a lot of friends that were judges and cops. And even though he had friends who were judges and cops, he loved wiretapping. He wiretapped everybody. He wiretapped himself even. And when they busted him, he had like weeks of wiretap hours already stashed away somewhere. But he eventually went to prison because he had some illegal firearms and explosives that he wasn't supposed to have. He served 9 years. He made sure to brag about how he served 9 years, didn't rat anybody out because he had secrets on a lot of people in Hollywood. Then he gets out of prison after those 9 years, and he's welcomed with fanfare by different celebrities. He's getting courtside seats at the Lakers games. He's getting interviewed by Alec Baldwin on his podcast, where Alec Baldwin is like, what a guy, this gangster guy, he's such a guy. It's all very weird. And then he's getting flown out to Vegas for different things, I think by Leonardo DiCaprio. So there's all of these celebrities who are meeting this guy when he gets out of prison. And he's wearing Italian suits. He's living a nice life. And it's just because he kept secrets for people in Hollywood. He said that he destroyed evidence for that no one else will know. He'll take him to the grave. Anyways, that guy's name was Anthony Pellicano. He's the real life Ray Donovan. There's a movie about him. It's called Sin Eater. And it's New York Times presents Sin Eater. You can watch it. And there's some recordings of Chris Rock and some other people in that movie that are very interesting. There's a lot of stuff about Michael Jackson, stuff like that. I don't know. He's just somebody that I think you guys should all know about. He's just a very interesting character.
So you're telling me that a famous artist back in the 1920s and 30s just happened to paint spheres that look like the ones flying around today and named them the voices of space? Oh, I'm just getting started. Wait till you see the other painting. Meet famous artist René Magritte, a Belgian surrealist known for famous paintings like this. So we all have apples in front of our faces? That's another weird coincidence, don't you think? Anyway, so not only did he paint these paintings and title them The Voices of Space, which coincidentally the Booga sphere had the writing of a message around the outside. This painting here, the name of it is La Reconnaissance Infinie, which has two meanings. In French, which means recognition, and in English, reconnaissance, like the military sense of gathering information about a given place, and infinie meaning infinite or without limit. For those of you that don't know, the sphere that was found in Colombia is believed to be gathering information. René said, I put men in places you wouldn't expect to see them, and in the case of this painting, he said that was atop a large sphere in the sky. Are we as viewers thus being invited to rethink our understanding of our place in the universe? The sphere in Colombia was spotted March 2nd, 2025. The reconnaissance painting sold 3 days later, the highest selling piece of the season, selling for over 10 million pounds, and it was acquired by a telephone bidder. However, the identity of the buyer has not been publicly revealed. This one, The Voices of Space, I believe, is in Buffalo, New York. And this version of The Voices of Space is in the Peggy Guggenheim collection in Venice, Italy. Peggy, yeah, kind of weird that I'm making this video, right? Do you guys think at some point that he maybe saw something? Orbs are the most spotted UAPs on the planet. He does reference these as bells. Maybe that's just a cover-up because he didn't want to say he saw something. Or do you guys just think that this is just coincidence? Either way, I honestly find this so fascinating.
I mean, if he's been making these pictures as far back as he has, that lets you know that these orbs are not new.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. God!
Okay, so that's just a puppet, but you know it's not? Meet the Tibetan fox. The fox nature designed strictly from memory. The Lord makes no mistakes, but sometimes he uses his left hand. That's how you get a fox straight out of Courage the Cowardly Dog. We're not entirely sure why it looks like amateur taxidermy, but some say it's a character development that comes with living on the very roof of the world. Apparently that's the peak physique when your address is up to 5,000 meters or 16,000 feet up in the air. The highest point in the US, not in Alaska, is just under 15,000. The result is an AI generated pika predator. Pika basically being the popcorn chicken of rabbits. And the main thing on this Timu Fox's grocery list. Sometimes this uncanny valley Volpes goes on a two-man with bears, where the bears dig the prey up and the funny-in-the-face fox runs them down. All while having the expression of immigrant parents to her firstborn, terminally disappointed and remarkably unimpressed. I still love you, Mom. Except when they're about to murk a marmot. That's enough to make him hit the Heisman. And despite the free-handed by Faith Fox proving that 5-year-old me can draw, they actually look pretty normal as pups. And the way you see them might change when you see how little they are next to us. Because when you live in God's snowed-in Tibetan attic with the windows open, it's best to be small. In fact, the best theory is that protection from the constant wind is why they look like that. Something about preserving moisture in the eyes. But it also means you can get side-eyed looking dead in this fur emoji's face, the more you know.
This? You might be thinking, why is there a spoon wedged into these ancient Roman columns? And that is because this spoon showcases that these columns, even though they look sturdy, they look like they have been here for thousands of years because they have, these columns are perpetually in movement. So someone has put a spoon here in the wedge between these ancient Roman columns to kind of show that they're always moving, even though you can't see it because these are so big. But since the spoon is so delicate, you can see that it is shaking. Do you see that movement? And if you put your fingers into the wedges between the columns, you can also feel that this column is constantly going like this. And so I'm going to do that right now. Just wedge my fingers in there. It's actually quite scary. Like I can feel the column mildly shaking back and forth. It almost feels like it's breathing. But here you can see a visual representation of the spoon. So those slight vibrations are also happening onto my hand right now. It feels like the column is just kind of slightly going like this. And that is what all of these columns are doing at all times. And it's just crazy to think about. Because it seems so stable and so sturdy because they've been here for 2,000 years, but they are constantly moving a little bit.
It looks like one strong gust of wind, man, it might be over for you.
So I know y'all wanted a video about Brashear Gray, aka Hakeem from Empire. And similar to August Alsina, after being around the Smiths, Will or Jada or both, something just started to shift. Now let's rewind and bring up Charlie Mack. He's been around since the very beginning of Will Smith's career. Allegedly, he was a bodyguard who turned into something a little bit more closer. Just a rumor that's been going around, and some people say that he just has control over Will. Now, Jaguar Wright claims that Brashear Gray, Will Smith, Jaden, and Justin Bieber were all caught on one tape together. One room, one camera, if you get what I'm trying to say.
He'll feel too embarrassed to file his lawsuit against Diddy for what Will and Diddy did to him. With Jaden and Justin present, that tape exists. I really hope none of that baby oil was used on those kids.
And now Brashear's not acting. He's fully out showing everything on X. And it's all with men, like loud and proud he's doing it, y'all. And it's really got a lot of people wondering what really happened to him. Do y'all remember when Willow posted that picture on Instagram that made people question the type of company she was keeping? I'm just gonna say the rabbit hole gets deeper from there, but that's a whole nother video. But if y'all want to break down on that, I got y'all. I just want to know, why does nobody talk about this when it comes to Will Smith and his circle?
Leave it to Jaguar to go ahead and add insult to injury, man. Why she had to go ahead and bring up the baby oil like that?
So now they want every American to wear a device called a wearable. RFK said in 4 years, he wants every American to have this, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is just another precursor to get everybody later on to take the mark of the beast. That's what these things are. That's what these concepts are. It's to groom people beforehand to be okay with accepting a worldwide thing that everyone has to have. That's what this is. Apparently a wearable is what they're introducing. It's like a watch, and you would wear it and it will track your health, every part of your health, like everything. And it will be able to tell you if something is wrong, which in theory sounds like a good thing for sure. However, it would also track where you are, and each device will be registered to said person, and it will track you whether or not you want it to. This could be very dangerous because let's just say, hypothetically speaking, allegedly TikTok, let's say if you got a sickness, let's say if it was something like COVID, and you got COVID and they were able to track exactly where you were because the watch told them that you had COVID, and they come and they get you Physically, they come and they pick you up and take you to quarantine or something like that. That's weird. Or imagine you just have any other sickness or illness. They can now detect that with a watch. You can't hide from it, and they're gonna come and get you. Not to mention, they will be able to track a whole bunch of other things. So this is one of those things, if they say every single American has to have it, obviously they're pushing an agenda. It's not, oh, if they want to, it's no, you have to in 4 years. In 4 years, this is something you're going to have to do. That's what they're saying. And you might say, well, we already wear watches and phones and we already have these devices checked. You have it voluntarily. This thing you will not have voluntarily. And if you don't have it, it will be greatly frowned upon, and you never know what the consequences may be. Everyone doesn't have to have an iPhone or an Apple Watch or Android. You chose to have that. This is one of the things that's going to be probably given to you for free. Beware of these types of things given to you for free. And God is doing us a big favor because he is showing us precursors beforehand. He's showing us these things that are going to take place in the future, but he's showing us beforehand to get us prepared. So if you're failing the quiz, you will for sure fail the test when it does come.
Well, I'm gonna have to hard pass on that. I ain't trying to be tracked everywhere I go, but if you think it's a good idea, let me know down in the comments.
Remember, guys, they always put what they're gonna do right out in Front Street. They want you to know they're gonna do it. In April of 2024, the NIH decided to run a scenario where they're emulating a new pandemic that starts on July 4th of 2025, not ending until December of 2028. This new pandemic scenario, they emulated an outbreak of Nipah virus, which, doing a little bit of research on a Nipah virus, it has a 72% mortality rate, meaning 7 out of 10 people that contract this virus will die. Now, the Chinese media has been releasing a study in zoology and 20 new viruses that can be transmitted from bats to human. The number one virus on this list that they just released yesterday is the Nipah virus. It's already set up and ready to go. They put it right out in front. If you guys want more information on this scenario that they ran, I'm going to put the link to the NIH website for it right in the comments, so you guys go check it out yourself. Be prepared, guys. This is what they're doing next.
This is an ancient Roman earthquake alarm system. These rocks that are hollow like a bell would be on top of these columns, similarly to these ones over here that are still standing. And if an earthquake happened, the columns would rock together, knocking these hollow rocks and making this sound. It sounds like a bell because they're hollow. They're like special rocks that the Romans somehow knew to put up there. This is how a normal rock sounds in comparison. Wouldn't make the same sound. And so all of these rocks would have these hollow bell rocks on the top, and if a earthquake happened, they would rock together, and you would just hear this throughout the entire city, and it would alert the people that there was an earthquake going on. What do you think? I think this is a crazy example of ancient ingenuity. I never would have thought that they would have set an earthquake alarm system here into this little pavilion.
Genius!
This isn't a wedding. It's actually a $48 million power ritual. My name is Kamala Hurley. I'm an evidential medium that loves to uncover hidden truths, and I'm going to share with you how Jeff Bezos is not marrying for love alone. He's marrying to reshape legacy, control the narrative, and cement his place among the world's most untouchable. So I think the first thing that you have to understand is Jeff Bezos. Now, Jeff Bezos has a net worth of over $200 billion. So just to put this in like normal human money, for him, a $48 million wedding is equivalent to somebody spending $120 and they make $500K a year. Put that in perspective. So this wedding is not actually about the cost. It is actually about curating an experience that reflects status and the evolvement of his identity. Because you can see here in 1997, he's hardly the man you would want to go on a gondola ride with.
Here is a video of Palantir billionaire co-founder Peter Thiel having an epiphany that he might be hastily ushering in the Antichrist.
This is my
my very specific question for you, right, is that you're an investor in AI. You're deeply invested in Palantir, in military technology, in technologies of surveillance, in technologies of warfare, and so on, right? And it just seems to me that when you tell me a story about the Antichrist coming to power and using the fear of technological change to sort of impose order on the world, I feel like that Antichrist would maybe be using the tools that you were building, right? Like, wouldn't the Antichrist be like, great, we're not going to have any more technological progress, but I really like what Palantir has done so far, right?
Yeah,
I mean, isn't that a concern? Wouldn't that be the irony of history would be that the man publicly worrying about the Antichrist accidentally hastens his or her arrival?
There are all these different scenarios. I obviously don't think that that's what I'm doing.
I mean, to be clear, I don't think that's what you're doing either. I'm just interested in how you get to a world willing to submit to permanent authoritarian rule.
Well, but again, there are these different gradations of this we can describe, but is this so preposterous, what I've just told you, as a broad account of the stagnation that the entire world has submitted for 50 years to peace and safetyism? This is 1 Thessalonians 5:3. The slogan of the Antichrist is peace and safety.
I don't know what it is, but every time I'm looking at the owners of these AI companies, whether it's Sam Altman or this fellow right here, they never seem too confident. There's always some shiftiness going on there. And that's kind of concerning.
The devil worked way harder than God. Ooh. So no matter what religion you believe in, I practice spirituality, right? I can't say that, I know a lot of people gonna hate me, I can't say that I believe a man in the sky with a gate and angels flying with wings, or a man downstairs with fiery pit. In my mind, we already living in hell. Fuck, I'm at peace when I'm dead. I got shot, I fainted, right? And they induced me in a coma. I know what it feels like to almost die. It feels peaceful. But when I woke up, it felt like hell again, in pain.
Nah, hey, talk to him. Talk to him.
Why is there an inscription in an ancient Egyptian temple of a helicopter, a tank, and a spaceship or a plane? Many people on the internet claim of time travelers. But there's a simple answer. This is the temple of Seti I in Abydos. And for those of you who don't know, Seti I was the father of Ramses the Great, or Ramses II. And if there's one thing that Ramses enjoyed doing the most, it was taking other people's work and putting his name on it. But you're probably thinking, what does that have to do with the helicopter, the tank, and the plane in the temple? And the answer to that question is everything. As I mentioned, this temple originally belonged to Seti I, and his name was written everywhere. This is how his name would look normally. And if you see, when you combine the name of Ramses on top of Seti, you end up with these weird shapes. So all that's happened is that the engravers have tried to write the name of Ramses on top of Seti, resulting in these weird shapes that people keep calling helicopters, tanks, and spaceships. And I think if we just apply some logic to it, if these items did indeed exist in the times of ancient Egypt, they wouldn't just be written down on a single column at the top of a temple somewhere once. So I hope that answers that.
Hey, when you take a deep look at all those kind of hieroglyphics, all we can do is really give our best guess. Unless one of those pharaohs come back from the dead, speak English, and let us know exactly what was going on, we'll always just be giving our best guess.
Has your research ever gone far enough to kind of verify that people are doing whatever they have to do to get to a certain level?
This will make a lot of sense. How many people can rap? A gazillion. How many people can make beats? Another gazillion. So what separates them? What puts you in the front of the line?
Can't just be talent.
No, it can't be talent. There has to be something else. And then the devil is like, no, the reason why Jesus, he was Jesus, so he wasn't going to take the devil's offer. But he didn't want the devil's offer because the devil wanted service unto him. If you take this, bow down to me, I'll give you this. If you get the devil's fame, all earthly fame is from the devil, period. He's the prince and power of the air. He's the God of this world. He wouldn't have offered it to Jesus if he didn't have it to give. All these kingdoms, I'll give you. This was his domain. You take his riches. You owe him something, so he has to get something. Then he has to use that so that you don't ever renege. Nobody reneges. Nobody gets out. Who was world famous, world renowned, and got out? If you don't want the deal, return the goods. Do they ever return the goods?
They always tell us all you have to do is listen. Like that time Lil Wayne told us he made a deal with God for a second chance at life. I'm sure we all heard the story about himself when he was younger.
So I went in the bedroom, grabbed the gun. I already made the phone call. Looked in the mirror, did like that. Of course, it was like, oh no. You know, because I got a little too scared. That was my head, like, no. But then I said, f it.
And he goes on to talk about this in a few songs, and in one particular, he gives us a little more information.
I found my mama's pistol where she always had it. I cried, put it to my head and thought about it. Too much was on my conscience to be smart about it. Too torn apart about it. I aimed where my heart was pounding. I shot it. And I woke up with blood all around me. It's mine. I didn't die, but as I was dying, God came to my side and we talked about it. He sold me another life and he made a profit. Yeah.
So if God sold him another life, what did Lil Wayne give him in return?
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting observation. I mean, Lil Wayne isn't alone in that whole scenario because there's a few other people, like I know 50 Cent has something similar. When he was shot 9 times, it was pretty much the same situation.
Look, meteor. Oh, no shit. Wow. Oh, what a sight. What a sight.
That was a prospector in Kalgoorlie, one of the lucky few in Western Australia who caught a glimpse of a fireball tearing through the early morning sky. Reports of sightings also came in from Perth and Mandurah. The Perth Observatory says it was most likely a small meteor burning up as it entered Earth's atmosphere.
Something like that would probably be anywhere between the size of a cricket ball to a basketball size. It's going anywhere between 16 kilometres per second up to nearly 60 kilometres per second. So that friction builds up and it causes the outer layer to melt, and that's where you're getting to see that lovely green-orange glow.
I need all the iTrack fam in Australia to tap in and let me know what you saw.
They've created a camera so fast it slows to a crawl the fastest moving thing in the universe, light.
The camera has a resolution of a trillionth of a frame per second. And so we can actually observe light as it goes through this scene.
1 trillion frames per second?
Mm-hmm.
At that speed, a flash of light on a still life is transformed into a journey.
We'll see light coming in by its reflection off the floor.
Oh, wow.
As the light wave propagates, it'll hit the surface of the fruit and we'll see that light up. And then only after delay will you see the light hit the wall behind it, and only after another delay will you actually see the shadow behind it.
Wait, so the shadow doesn't appear instantaneously?
That's right, because the wall is farther away, it takes light a longer time to reach it.
That's crazy. Soda bottle filled with water, but then a flash.
So you see the pulse of light enter in from the left?
This pulse is actually a packet of photons, particles of light.
And we can see its energy front sweeping across the bottle from left to right. And eventually the pulse will hit the cap and emit a bright flash.
Just think how fast it was traveling.
About 600 million miles per hour.
And how long did that event take in real life?
It took a billionth of a second for light to go from one end to the other.
Put another way, if you were to film that iconic apple with this camera and made a movie of the bullet entering the picture, going through the apple and out the other side,
it would take about a year to watch this entire movie.
This would take a year to watch?
This is the Japanese symbol for 6. This is the Chinese symbol for 6, which is no different. So this is 666. And this is the Pure Life Water logo. And this is the Pure Life Water logo next to the 666. I'm sure you can see the resemblance. This caught my attention because I covered this symbolism before regarding the logo of a large clinic. And I'm not surprised it's on Pure Life Water, considering a lot of people buy it. It's sold at Walmart and it's affordable. And Pure Life is owned by Blue Triton brands. In the Bible, blue is symbolic of the Word of God. And in Greek mythology, a Triton is a merman or demigod of the sea. Triton is the name they apparently gave Neptune's largest moon, which makes sense because in Roman mythology, Neptune is the god of the sea. Why does everything always have to have these connections? Why not something simple like water bottling brand and a couple water drops as the logo?
A helicopter was genuinely on an Earth that was traveling at 1,000 miles an hour to the west.
The second the helicopter lifted off the ground to hover over the same spot, the ground would move beneath it at 1,000 miles an hour. And so to travel in a helicopter, all you need to do is lift up and wait for your destination to get to you, and then land again. But they say that isn't how helicopters work, because they say the world isn't spinning, it's stationary, it's flat.
Failures happen, and it's not your fault. But it doesn't matter, because blaming everybody else is just a waste of your time. So people that basically, it's a very trite phrase, but you know, the world is happening for me, but not to me. Like that is a mouthful of truth.
All right, what's the deal with all these videos popping up claiming that allegedly in parts of Georgia and South Carolina, people had their TV broadcasts interrupted for about 3 minutes? This happened just in the last couple of days. And during that time, a message supposedly from the Anunnaki aired, acknowledging the current chaos among humans, warning of severe weather events coming, and then saying that they were going to help. And then, right after that, people in these same areas reported seeing fireballs streaking across the sky, like multiple reports. So yes, this sounds completely crazy, and I am skeptical, but I'm also open-minded enough to ask. There actually was a TV broadcast interruption in southern England in 1977 where a group claimed to be Ashtar Galactic Command, and they talked about human awakening. So I'm being open-minded. Was it something like that? Has anyone seen this alleged Anunnaki broadcast firsthand? Do you have video of it or know someone who does? Drop any links, videos, or stories in the comments. I'm actually very curious.
And that's a fact. Anybody in the iTrack fam that's in Atlanta or even as far off as Louisiana or any of those states that might have experienced that, tap in and let me know if that's a real thing or if they're just spewing madness and just want everybody to be confused. Let me know.
And here we actually have Nolan playing Mario Kart. Now, what's special about this particular clip is Nolan is not the only cyborg playing Mario Kart in this clip. We actually have a whole community of users, as mentioned earlier, and this is literally 5 of our first users of Neuralink playing Mario Kart together over call. Now, Mario Kart it's cool. You know, you're using one joystick and then you're clicking like a couple buttons to throw items. What would be even cooler is what if you could control 2 joysticks at once, simultaneously with your mind? What I'm about to show you, and I think this is for the first time someone playing a first-person shooter game with a brain-computer interface. This is Alex and RJ playing Call of Duty, controlling one joystick to move and then the other joystick to point your gun and then shooting people as a button. Here's Alex shooting another person.
Right. Oh dear God.
Oh, that was God.
I know I do, and I want him to freaking shoot. He won't when I do.
RJ, Alex got you.
I know, dude. He shot me in the face.
Now that we have a bit of a sense of what the BCI can do, a very important question to answer is, how does this impact the day-to-day lives of the people that use it every day?
Now, for all the folks that are paraplegic, can't move your hands or your legs, hey, that's an awesome thing, man. Nothing short of amazing.
First glance, it looks just like a blurry image of rocks and dry brush. But then, something catches your eye. A dark shape on the mountain slope behind Cabo San Lucas. Do you see him? It's not moving, just sitting there, too still. The figure is large and hunched with long arms that hang like ropes. It doesn't look human, it doesn't resemble any known animal, no visible clothing, its surface looks rough and dark, more like fur than skin. There's a quiet wrongness to it, a subtle tension like something you weren't meant to notice. The TikTok user who posted this claimed that they might have spotted the Mexican Sasquatch. At first, that sounds pretty far-fetched, but the setting definitely adds weight. Beyond the beaches and hotels of Cabo lie the Sierra de la Laguna Mountains, rugged, remote, and mostly untouched. If something wanted to stay hidden, this would be the place. We still don't know what it is, but maybe that's the point. What if it was never hiding? What if it was always right there, waiting? Share what you think about this in the comments below. This was filmed deep in the forests of Indonesia. The creature wasn't a monkey and it wasn't human. It didn't run, it watched. Its arms were unusually long, its body covered in rough fur with leathery skin visible on the chest and face. It stood with bent knees, ready to move. This is known as the Timothy Darrow footage, linked to the modern caveman tale from The Cannibal in the Jungle, a fictional show by Animal Planet. But the footage, that's different. It looks real. Even primate experts haven't identified what it shows. It didn't move or behave like any known animal. It walked on two legs, and it stared straight at the camera. A still from the video shows the figure entirely clear. A wide nose, a flat face, and deep-set eyes. Not scared, not hiding, just watching. So what do you think it was exactly? A Bigfoot or something else? We'd love to know your thoughts and discuss more on this in the comments below. Now, if you want to continue with the chills, just hop into this next video.
I know that first clip definitely looked like it could have been a giant hiding in that mountain, and then the second clip looked more like a Sasquatch in some kind of jungle. I don't know. Let me know what you think.
Me and Puff stops in the Central Park and we walk towards the boathouse. And I'm wondering where we going. As we going towards the boathouse, I look in the distance and it's this man in all black. He's in all black. He turns and it looked like he had the white collar. Puff said, yo, Gene, stay right here. And I stayed right there and he kept on walking. So when Puff get directly to the dude, he gets down on his knees. When he gets down on his knees, this man takes something and it seemed like it had smoke in it and he started doing it around Puff. And then he went back and forth. And then he went up and down with it, sideways with it, then back around him. He put it down. And then he put his hand on Puff's head, and I guess he started, saying something. I don't even really know what he said, but I couldn't tell what he said. Long story short, I see Puff reach into this case. And when he reached into this case, he came out, and you could see something white in his hand. I didn't know it was a bird. I didn't know what it was at first. But he threw it up in the air. And when he threw it in the air, came straight back down like it was a brick and said, bow on the concrete. And I was like, oh, that was a dove, that was a bird. Puff just looked at the dude and just started walking towards me. And I was like, oh, and he's getting closer, and he's getting closer. As he's getting closer to me, yo, he just walked past me. He didn't even say nothing like, come on, Gene, let's go or nothing. He just walked past me, and I just started walking with him. And we got to the car, and he didn't say nothing the whole ride we was on. So we drive to the court. And before we got to the court, I said, my man, you need some real prayer, bro. And then that's when I did the Lord's Prayer, and I prayed, and they went up into the courtroom. And when he came out, him and Wolf won, and they say Sean was charged with the and everything like that. Dude is a demon, bro. Dude is a demon. I realized he was a demon at Sean trial. If that priest ever come out and he talking, I was there. I was there when that priest or whoever he was rubbed that stuff on his head, put his hand on top of him, told him to grab the bird out the cage, the white dove, and he threw the dove in the air, and the dove acted like he ain't have no wings and hit the fucking ground. Boom! That motherfucker started walking my way. I'm looking like this, bro. I'm like, and he just walked past me like he didn't even see me. We going to the same place. We about to go to Shine Tribe. He walked past me, bro. Didn't say nothing. And in my mind, that dude, you can't tell me, bro. That dude was possessed with some kind of demon, man. He was possessed with some kind of demon. Wanna be in all this red, this dark rooms with the music blasting. It had to be a certain temperature, a certain type of music for the vibration they were saying. Come on, bro. To me, that's the demonic, bro. That's some old crazy otherworld shit.
I'm telling you, that Gene Deal cat went through some things, man. Every time I listen to him, he sound traumatized, you know? Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books, man. I appreciate you guys for stopping by yet again and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, smash that like button for me. If you're not already subscribed, smash that subscribe button. And I will definitely catch you on the next one.